Hey guys, today we have a video for you on equivalent exchange.
Yeah, Equivalent Exchange has all kinds of magical items and different things that you can do with magic.
Yeah, this mod was added with the latest update of the Tekkit. It was not in it before.
Oh yeah, so it just appeared in 2.0 along with the computer that you see above the crafting table here.
So right now we're just going to make some low covalence dust. This is tier 1, so it's the cheapest one and the most useless one.
Keep in mind that what we used in the corner there is charcoal. Does it work with coal?
No, it doesn't work with coal. It only uses cobblestone and 1 charcoal.
Alright, so this is the lowest layer of covalence dust, but there are 3 different sort of tiers.
Yeah, so right now we're making a divining rod. This is basically a guessing stick.
Yeah, so it sort of lets you figure out what's beneath you, what's around you, what kind of materials you can find.
With the tier 1 divining rod, which is this one, you can scan a 3x3x3 area and it'll tell you what's in it.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to show you in just a sec.
So by pressing G, you will be able to toggle the distance. However, this one only has 1 distance.
Yeah, because it's tier 1, it only has the abilities of 1. So when you press G, it doesn't really change anything, but it lets you know what the scanning radius is.
One thing to note is that every item on Minecraft will have an EMC value. On Vanilla Minecraft and some in Equivalent Exchange. Some items in
different mods.
Won't work. So when you right click with the divining rod, it'll give you an average value of the 3x3x3. Since there was iron and some gold in there, the average was 60. Cobblestone, stone, and all that, and sand like that will only have a value of 1. Iron will have a value of 256, and gold will have a value of 2000 something. So when you get the average, you'll get around 60.
So now, as you can see, the average is 1, because of all the objects in that 3x3 area are 1 EMC. So EMC is
equivalent
matter currency.
Yep.
I think, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And it represents sort of the amount that it's worth, and that's why it's called equivalent exchange, because I guess this was the main sort of thing.
Yeah, you can exchange items for other items.
So what we're making here is some tier 2 covalence dust.
It is named the same, but it has a different color.
Yeah, and if you surround your divining rod with the tier 2 covalence dust, you can make a tier 2 divining rod.
Yep, this one works exactly the same, but it has a second distance, so the second distance would be 16 times 3 and times 3.
Now, does this cost you anything to use?
Yeah, when you use this one on the 16 distance, when you right click, it'll use half a charcoal. However, when we used it here, for some reason it wouldn't work, but in the wiki it says that it will use half a charcoal, or when you...
The same goes for the tier 3. It didn't actually use what it said it would as its sort of fuel.
Yeah.
Again, if you press G with this one, you can switch between the original 3x3x3 and the new 16x3x3.
Yeah, and this one will give you actually a best value. So in this case, the best value is 2048, which is the gold value.
Yeah, so gold is a value of 2048, and that's what it found.
Yeah. In this mod, gold is really useful because of the EMC value it has.
Yeah, eventually you'll see that gold you can take 4 gold and turn it into 1 diamond. So we have, I think, over a stack of gold. So we're going to be making a lot of diamonds. Something to keep in mind is when you get gold, you have to macerate it, because if you don't, then you'll get half as many diamonds from it.
Yeah, so when you macerate it and then cook the dust, it'll give you 2 bars instead of just 1 bar.
Right. So what we're making here is the third.
Oh, it's a Philosopher's Stone.
It's called the Philosopher's Stone.
This is what Equivalent Exchange evolves around, and it will basically change items and other stuff. I'll show you in a second.
Yeah, so there's some different uses for the Philosopher's Stone. One of them we'll show you right here.
Yeah.
We were going to go outside, but it's dark and there's monsters, so...
Yeah, so actually if you press C while you're holding the stone, it'll open up a crafting recipe. We didn't show it on the video, but...
So if you press V, it charges it up. If you right-click with a low charge, it'll change one thing into something else.
Yeah.
Now there's a list of different things on the wiki that you can change from. We don't have them all memorized, But if you hold shift, it also does different things.
Yeah.
So when you're crouching, it does different things.
Yeah, I can turn sand into sandstone and cobblestone into sandstone if you use shift
and cobblestone into
gravel.
grass and different things.
Yeah.
So when you right click, it'll select a panel. If you press G, it can change the sort of the format that it does it, kind of like the 3x3 area.
Yeah. You also, if it's with no charge at all, it'll only change one block, while here it's changing a 3x3x1.
Right. So when you, as you can see, when I press G, it says transmuting in a line, panel, cube. Those are the 3 different shapes that you can have.
We're just doing a basic tutorial on this. If you guys still done will like another one on the Philosopher Stone, let us know.
Yeah, maybe we can do like a small mini, one-on-one video on just the Philosopher's Stone. But it might not be necessary. Like, if you go to the wiki, there is a list of different things that you can do with it.
Yep. So we need the Philosopher's Stone now for another recipe. One thing to note is that you can also put 4 coal around the Philosopher's Stone, and 4 charcoal around the Philosopher's Stone, and I'll turn it into coal. But that is really slow. So we'll show you a better way.
Yeah, so we're going to show you a transmutation table that'll make it a little bit easier to do.
Yeah, you can do a stack in a few seconds. So this is good because in the last video we showed you how to get a charcoal farm from forestry mod. So now with the economic exchange you'll be able to turn charcoal into coal,
yeah.
And then you can macerate it. No, macerate it and then compress it to get industrial diamonds.
Yeah, so if you look at the previous video, well, one of the previous videos, not necessarily the most recent one, we have an industrial diamond video. So if you don't really know quite what we're doing with the coal in the end,
Yeah.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah. So right here we're just showing you how you can get coal from charcoal.
Yeah. So this is a slow recipe, and it's not really the easiest way to do it, and it's just we're going to show you a much better way in a few seconds how to
And
do
every
it.
time you do it, you have to like reposition it. So like if you try doing a stack, you'd have to do it 64 times.
Yeah, you can't just do it all at once and shift click.
One good thing to note is that if you're planning on making torches and you only have coal, then turn the coal back into charcoal. That way you'll be getting 12 torches instead of just the 4.
Yeah, that's actually quite useful. There are some other sort of tricky ways you can use the transmutation thing for getting iron from tin and different things.
Yeah. Another good thing to use is instead of putting coal into your furnaces, then turn the coal into charcoal. That will give you 4 charcoal, and then you'll get 4 times the power.
Yeah, so anything that doesn't exactly require just coal, we suggest using charcoal for it. And if you have only coal, then switch the coal into charcoal first.
Yep. So right now we're going to make the transmutation tablet.
So what this does is it's sort of one of the main things of equivalent exchange. It sort of lets you take your EMC value and turn it from one thing into another.
It will also show you the EMC value of all the items, so if you're wondering why we didn't talk about them on the video, you can just place it on the tablet and I'll tell you.
Right, so you can, because this is only a quarter of a block, we suggest you can place it on top of anything. There's no particular reason why we put it on top of our alloy furnace.
So this is the interface you get once you're opening it up. The middle circle on the right hand side is a search circle. We'll talk about it later.
Right, so you can put items on the left side, and it'll learn them. As you can see, it said learned.
Yeah, there's 2 like matter types. One will be fuel, and the other one will be matter. So a diamond would be matter, and coal, charcoal, and glowstone would be fuel.
Right, so because of this, you can't turn something like coal into diamonds.
Yeah, so to turn coal into diamonds, you'd have to do it with the industrial diamond way.
Right, so there are some other ways to make diamonds through the transmutation tablet. One of the best ways is probably using gold. So if you put diamonds in to learn it on the tablet, and then you put gold in, you can take 4 gold, and the EMC value will add up to be enough to make diamonds.
Yeah, we do not have a diamond right now, so we cannot teach it. to the tablet, but we will be making a diamond in a second.
Right, so to make that diamond, we're going to take our 4 stacks of charcoal and do the same thing we did with the recipe, but we're going to do it all at once. Because we've taught the transmutation tablet coal, we can just sort of shift click and get it all at once.
Yep, and then this coal will just go into coal chunks to get the diamond from the compressor.
Mm-hmm. Something that we forgot to mention was that when we created the transmutation tablet, it required the Philosopher's Stone, but because it's a container recipe, you can get it back.
Yep. Another thing to note is that if you're on a server, what you learn on your transmission table will not stay for the next account. So if what his account learned in the tablet will not proceed to my account, so I'll have to teach it myself as well.
Right, so the things that are learned aren't based on the tablet itself, but the player that uses it.
Yeah.
So it's the player that learns it rather than just specific to one tablet. So that works, all of your tablets together will have the same recipes. If you teach it in one, it'll work in the next.
Yeah. Some items that work from other mods with the tablet are gems from Red Power. Also tin and copper from Industrial Craft will work. And tin has the same value as iron, so you can just turn tin into iron if you have excess tin.
Keep in mind there are some items that don't have any MC value, like rail tracks, and a lot of items from different mods.
Yeah. So there's our diamond, and we're going to teach it to the recipe. Once it's learned, it'll remain there.
Again, so once you've, I guess if you didn't know how we created the diamond that we just did, again, you can look at the industrial diamond video we made, because that's just the process we did really fast.
Yeah. So as you can see, if you try to put the 4 gold, it will not give you the diamond because it only has a value of 2,000. But once you spread it around, it'll have a value of 8,000, which is enough for the diamond.
Right, so that's a good little tip. You can't really you can't have it all in one spot. If you have 64 coal all in one spot, it won't work.
Yeah.
You need to spread it out.
So yeah, we're just making a lot more diamonds because gold is something that's only used in a couple of places, but not widely used.
Right, so this is a really great way to get diamonds out of gold and even some higher ranging resources like iron and different things.
32 iron will turn into 1 diamond, but that's not really recommended because you do use iron a lot.
Yeah, iron's pretty important for all the rest of the industrial craft, build craft, stuff like that.
One other thing we can mention is that you can break the items down. So if you have a diamond, you can break it back down into the 4 gold if you for some reason need the gold.
Right, so the third recipe we just showed there was the third type of covalence dust. It's tier 3.
And it uses a coal and a diamond.
Right, so if you take your divining rod again, you put it inside, you can make a third tier divining rod.
Yep. So this one has all the same distances from the previous ones, but it will also have a 64 one.
Right, so you can look down, pretty much straight down anything that's below you. We're not going to set up a little, a little stand for it, because it has such a huge range that we can't possibly.
Yeah, we
so
could,
we're just
but it
kind
take
of
forever.
yeah. So we're just kind of trying to do it in the ground.
Yep. One thing to note is that it uses half a redstone every time you right click, but for some reason it didn't use it for us. That's what it says on the wiki at least.
Yep, that's the exact same thing that happened with the coal. I don't know if they're updating it or if there are bugs or if they just took that part out.
And if it does use the half redstone, it's with by scanning 64 at bedrock level, you'll probably get a lot of redstone from it.
Right, so we just found a huge value, 16384. Originally, when we saw this, we thought, oh, there's diamonds there.
Yeah, it should have only given us the value from 1 diamond, which should have been 8,000, but it gave us 16,000, so that's probably 2 diamonds there.
Right, so even if it wasn't 2 diamonds, it's pretty much the same thing as having 2 diamonds.
Yeah.
Because of equivalent exchange, you can turn one thing into another, so it really didn't matter whether we had 2 diamonds or, 8 gold. What we ended up seeing down there was 8 gold, which in our case was actually better because we could macerate it, and we got double.
We got 16 gold ores, and which turned out to be
4
4
diamonds,
diamonds
yeah.
instead of 2.
So actually
better.
finding gold, because of the macerator and everything like that, is actually worth more than finding just diamonds.
Yeah. So yeah, that's actually great. We got 4 diamonds pretty quickly. So you can can make mining a lot easier.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up we're going to make a repairing talisman. This thing is extremely useful, and it will repair an item from like a wooden pickaxe, but it only repair it when it's about to break, and it will require one of the 3 types of covalence dust. If it's a wooden item, it will use up 1 covalence dust from the lowest tier. If it's a steel one, it will use the mid tier, so the light blue. And if it's a diamond tool, it will use the high level covalence dust.
What about if it's stone?
If it's stone, it will also use the low level
The first level?
one. Yeah. So yeah, we're just going to show the recipe in a bit.
What we're gonna do is we're just gonna place a few things down that we can cut up with our wooden tool here, and we're just gonna show that it does in fact repair it.
Yeah. However, there's a better way to use this repairing talisman, which will make it free.
Yeah, so we're actually crafting the repairing talisman right now. It requires all 3 types of covalence dust.
It also requires a paper and some string.
Right, so now I finally figured out the recipe for this stupid talisman of repair.
You don't need to have this in your hotbar to use it, it just has to be somewhere in your inventory. And we'll repair items. Well, we only made a wooden pickaxe because it ran out really quickly.
Right. So,
this is basic economic exchange. There's a lot more stuff that you can do with it. However, we will not cover it in this video, we'll cover it in future videos.
yeah, we might even end up doing like a couple more videos depending on... There's a lot of stuff in this mod. It's probably one of the biggest mods. I'd say the biggest mod in along with Industrial Craft and Buildcraft.
Yeah, it is quite extensive. Some people have been asking, there's no ones in economic exchange. However, there are some magic rings that use spells or whatever.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of different things that you can do with this mod.
Yeah, and eventually you'll get to a point where you can make a diamond in 2 minutes without doing anything.
Yeah, it's a little unfair.
Yeah.
It kind of makes it a little boring, but it's still pretty fun. So right now we're just wearing down our wooden pick here. And as you can see, it's actually already repaired itself twice, but I didn't notice when I was doing it. So, here you go.
Yeah. And to repair it, you used one of the little green dusts because it's a wooden pickaxe.
Right, so it's just repaired itself again. And there you go.
Now we're going to make a alchemical chest.
Right, so an alchemical chest holds twice the amount that a regular chest does, and there's also some cool different things that you can do when you're working inside it.
Also make sure that to teach every item that you have to your transmutation tablet, because if you get rid of it later for EMC, then and you need it back, you could get it back from EMC from another item.
Right, so if there are any rare items, like even glowstone, it's not necessarily rare, but you can only find it in the nether. If you put glowstone in, you can get some glowstone back later.
So the recipe for the alchemical chest will be up in a couple seconds. As you can see, most recipes are using diamonds, but when you think about it, we're getting a diamond for gold, so it's not too bad. Okay, and there's the recipe.
Right, so here's the alchemical chest. We're just going to put it down for a sec. Again, it holds twice the amount of space that a double chest holds. So it's actually 4 times the space that a normal single chest holds.
Yeah, and if you put the Talisman of Repair in it, it will repair the items you put into the chest with the Talisman of Repair for free, and it will repair 4 uses per second, so you don't have to wait for it to almost break.
Right, and this works for, well, so far, any of the modded items that we have.
Yeah, so it also works for the gem tools from Red Power mod.
Right, so as you can see, I'm putting some tools in here into this alchemical chest, and they're all slowly repairing. You might not really be able to tell, but it definitely works.
Yeah, so if you have two pickaxes, you can have one repairing and using up the other one, and then when the second one's about to run out, you can just switch them.
Yeah, so this is a really great way of having diamond gear. If you really need it, like if you're going out into the darkness and there's enemies, maybe you pull out your diamond, sword, but when you really don't need it, you can pull out your gem sword or your gem pickaxe. Because diamond picks it, they can break obsidian and the other ones can't. That's about all they can
Yeah.
do. So if you need to break obsidian, that's also a good another reason to
Another
have
good
those.
thing to note is that the Talisman of Repair will also repair armor. So, armor is always getting broken up, so.
Yeah, so having two sets of armor might not be such a bad idea.
Yep.
And when you think about how easy it is to get those kinds of resources for the double sets of armor, then
Yeah.
it makes more sense to do it.
Yeah. And we're going to show you right now an even better recipe for an alchemical bag.
Right, so it requires 5 wool of any type. We just used our tablet here to get a couple more wool of light
So yeah,
gray.
if you only put one wool, it'll teach it to it, and then you can just turn EMC from another item into wool.
Right, so this was a really good use of it because, I mean, unless you go out and find sheep, wool isn't the easiest thing to find, if you're lazy, especially like us.
Yeah. So it just requires the tier 3 covalent dust, an alchemical chest, you'll have to break up the one you just made, and 5 wool.
Now, you may be thinking that you don't want to get rid of your alchemical chest, but this is probably the most useful item that I've found in all of EE.
Yeah. So it is basically a chest that you bring with you. If you just right click with the bag on your hand, will open the chest space. Has the same space as the alchemical chest, and you can also put the talisman of repair and all your tools.
Right, so this is super useful if you're going mining and you don't have that much space because it holds like 8 times what your inventory does, well, maybe 4 or 5. But it certainly holds 4 times what a chest does, which is super useful if you're going mining.
Yeah. So yeah, if you go down mining with this, you'll probably not be coming back, not even for like new pickaxes, because you can just repair them.
Yeah, the only time you'll ever want to go back is if you need, food or something. Yeah, so that's about it. Comment, rate, subscribe. We'll be doing more equivalent exchange videos soon.
Alright, see ya.